So you want to learn guitar. If you're over 20, let me give you the reasons why you shouldn't. Okay? First of all, it takes time. It takes quite a bit of time. You got to commit to it. You won't see the fruits of your labor right away. Lots of practice, right? Your fingers will hurt. If you're really putting effort into it, your fingers will hurt. It takes time to build calluses up. If you're over 20, you may have a job. You may have a lot of things going on in your life, and it's just difficult. Possible, but difficult. So understand, if you want to learn how to play guitar and you're over 20 years old, not many succeed at it, but it is possible, and you can do it. Okay, so here's a couple things I would tell you. You're in the market for looking for a guitar. You can buy a lot of really cheaper guitars nowadays that play just fine. A lot of things you got to deal with is, well, breaking your guitar first of all, but is how far that string is from the neck. You know, a cheaper guitar is probably not going to have a good string to the neck. Not going to sound as well. Although there are some good guitars out there. I'd say Yamaha makes some good cheaper guitars. There's a lot more now than there ever was when I was a kid or younger. And so if you're getting into it late, that's totally fine. You can get a pretty inexpensive guitar that plays just fine. Another thing I would tell you is if you're going to learn and you're persistent and you're over 20 and you've determined that this is going to happen, go buy a tuner. You know, there's all kinds of different tuners, but there's ways to tune your guitar without one of these. But you could have a lot of heartache with it, and yeah, you should learn how to tune your guitar without this, and that can come later. But a couple benefits of a tuner. First of all, if you're ever playing with someone, you want to be in the same tune, not just tuned to your own instrument, but tuned to the right key. An electronic tuner will do that, and these are pretty cheap. I think I paid $15 for this. So invest in one of these and tune your guitar. Very, 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 very good investment. Lastly, I would just say there's lots of YouTube videos, lots of places you can go to learn, and you got to find what works for you. Everybody learns a little bit differently. There are three probably styles of learning, but go out and find something that works for you. I would tell you, look for somebody that's teaching you basic chords. So there are some basic diatonic or seven tones. So let's go through them. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's as far as the alphabet goes in music, and it starts back over at A. So you want to learn those main chords. So A looks like this. That's just 1, 2, 3, right? 1, 2, 3. There's a right way to learn, a wrong way to learn, but I would just say conventionally, there's alternatives. Jimi Hendrix played a right-handed guitar left-handed or something like that. So there's nothing that stops you from learning however you want to learn, whatever best fits you. You want to go A. A B is typically going to be like a bar chord, which is a bar form of A. There's a B, a C, a D, an E, an F, and a G. You learn those basic chords. Those are the basic diatonic or the 7 main chords. Then you start to learn alternatives of them, like the minor forms and the bar chords and all that stuff. But basically, music just repeats itself. It's very mathematical. So if you're not very creative, don't worry about it. Music is pure math. You would think it's all creativity, but it's also pure math. So if you're analytical and you're a scientific-minded person, you can learn very quickly. Just understanding that the patterns and the music just repeats itself. Now, if you want to go out and write and you want to be really creative with it, you might have to find ways to be creative with that analytical mind you have. But it doesn't mean you can't learn. In fact, I think somebody who's very mathematical probably learns the guitar a lot faster. And then just time, you have to set time aside. So if you work out, or if you do anything, outside of living life and raising children and having a family or whatever it is that you do, just time with your spouse or your significant other, you do have to dedicate some time to it if you want to get good. So think about that. Like I said, lots of YouTube videos out there, lots of stuff to learn from. If you want to do it, you can. It's not impossible. It's more difficult for folks that are already in life and doing things, but you certainly can learn, and there's a lot of benefit to it. I have a couple videos on my site where it's just stuff I've written, maybe a couple of covers, Gravedigger and Cat Stevens, Wild World, but I also have some originals. And they're not perfect, but it's just something I love to do. And I can pick this up. It's quite a stress reliever and lets me express myself. So it's a wonderful, the guitar is a wonderful instrument to learn. The guitar or the piano, I think, are probably the number one best instruments. Many people might argue with me on that, but they're the two that incorporate all of music theory. So you can transition to anything you want. So great instrument, pack it around, go camping, play, sing your heart out, do whatever you want. It's a great instrument. So I would encourage you to learn, but it does take commitment and time. So be prepared for that.